Yule goes all the way back to Vikings and heathens. And in fact, it goes back so far that a year can't actually be put on it. In that time of heathenry, it was a 3-day religious ceremony for the winter solstice. Hi, Phoenix family. Tonight's topic is Yule, and Yule is pagan. Okay, so let's go from there. Yule can be researched all the way back to the Germanic practices of paganism and spirituality. It's very Scandinavian, going back to Vikings and heathens. If you were to do your own research, say like you look at Wikipedia, which to me is not a reliable source, but if you do, you will find that it says that Christmas/Yule started in, say, 1475, I believe is what it says, but that's not true. That's not true at all. And in fact, I'm going to take you back a whole lot further than the 1400s, okay? So Yule goes all the way back to Vikings and heathens. And in fact, it goes back so far that a year can't actually be put on it. In that time of heathenry, it was a 3-day religious ceremony for the winter solstice, and that in that time of celebration was to bring families together. There was a feast for the winter solstice. There was gift giving and receiving, and the gifts at that time frame, when you would have to research, what the Vikings and such had, such as jewelry, beads, breads, things like that. And it was a whole part of the something that everybody looked forward to, something that everybody come together for. It was literally like a community or town celebration, for lack of better words. Okay, so they'd all come together. All right. However, during the Christian conversion, and although we know that Constantine got the conversion approved in the year 1100, I believe, they were already pushing for it long before that. In the year 601 that I have listed, Pope Gregory says to stop such pagan festivities of the heathens, but to adapt them to the church, thus allowing the conversion to spread even further. Okay, if you was to do some research on Scandinavian practices and the heathens, Vikings, and such like that, you would find out that in some areas the Vikings took over where the churches were trying to build in, and you will also find out that in certain areas the churches took over where the Vikings and heathens were, and pushed them out. It's a constant battle, but Christianity was a part of that, the religious belief, and in part of the conversion, because you have the heathens over here, or what they were called Vikings. You have them over here with this absolutely spiritual belief of the winter solstice and this big ceremony and celebration fought against a Christian conversion. Okay, so then they come along and they're like, we really need you guys to convert to this idealistic religion that we've created. So we're going to take your practices of Yule and we're going to make this religion. Okay? And although it was pushed for centuries to make Yule into Christmas, It wasn't until 1475, and this is where Yule, Wikipedia gets the dates wrong. It wasn't until 1475 when it was named Christmas, okay, and where they fully got the whole idea of the Christ and all of this good stuff and the nativities and all that. It's where they were all that added in. The ridiculousness of what they practicing today. All right. Then, with all of that, from say 1475 to 1681, in 1681, Christmas was banned because even though Pope Gregory made his speech in 601, centuries and centuries of years later, the Puritans of 1681 banned the idea of it because this was a pagan practice. That instead of pushing for the conversion further by combining the two, they're like, no, we're just not going to have it at all. This does come from paganism. This idea of this ceremony, this solstice, is all pagan. This is all heathenry, and we want nothing to do with it. Okay, so then I'm looking back at my paper because I wrote the dates down. I want to give you the correct dates. In 1776, it was brought back, but in the UK, okay? It was 1789. So from 1776, it was brought back, but not like officially. It was 1789 when it became an official holiday, but again, still really only celebrated in the UK as Christmas, okay? It was not legal in the United States to celebrate until, let's see, 1836. Again, though, while you're doing your own research, if you choose to look up these dates and stuff, there is some controversy on that, on the dates that I have given you, but I'm giving you my research. Okay, so Christmas was illegal in the United States until 1836. And that was because it was a pagan holiday. It was not Christmas, it was Yule. And Yule was pagan. Yule was heathen. And that if you celebrated such a ceremony like that, then you were not Christian. It was against Christianity. So, all right, 1836 comes along and they have decided to legalize it, but they called it Christmas. They went back, the government, federal government, whatever, they went back, they put all this together, and they put all this together and made it a Christian holiday. Therefore, it could be legalized and practiced in everybody's home. All right, the Yule log comes from Germany. The Christmas tree itself that's decorated, the lights, the bows, the glitter. In fact, in Germany for many years, it was not lights that we wrapped on the trees. It was little bitty candles that would be lit. Well, of course, that becomes a fire hazard. For safety reasons, candles were replaced with lights to shine around the tree rather than little candles. Okay, so then from 1836 to now, 2019, there are still many people that will fight of putting Christ back into Christmas, and when in reality, it never was. The reality of it is that it's a Yule celebration that Christians took from pagans and made into their holiday, and they added Christmas to it, making the name to put Christ in Christmas. All right, if that makes any sense to you, that's how the Christ in Christmas even came to be, because of Christians taking Yule and making it what it is today and what most families celebrate it as. All right. Now, the next part of this, and some people of today, they do celebrate it, and some do not, is the whole Santa Claus thing. Many names for Santa Claus, many traditions, a lot of reading to do if you want to put this one together. But again, that comes from Germany. Again, that comes from the pagan practices. And you have Father Time, you have Krampus, and all of these, different characters in history of stories retold and told yet again. And that comes back to the practice of giving to those that deserved it, receiving from those, and teaching children the idea of giving and receiving. Okay. And then Krampus was created on the idea to scare children into behaving, because this is what would happen. Some of it is fairy tale that, adults shared and created, to get children to behave or to teach children in the idea of giving and receiving. Santa or Father Time, either one, have nothing to do with the Christian conversion of what they consider Christmas. All right? So, the Christian idea of Christmas, of what it should be, if they were celebrating it without taking our pagan rituals away, is to have their nativity scene, have their little star, whatever it is that they're doing for Christianity, but they don't have a tree, they don't have a Yule log, they don't have Santa Claus, they don't have the gift of giving and receiving, or the big family feast. All of that is pagan. Every bit of that is all pagan. Christmas itself, when Christianity was converted, was about making this time, taking this time away from pagans and making it about celebrating their religion, celebrating Christianity. But they added this piece to this piece so that heathens would convert over to Christianity, and by putting the spiritual practice with this idea of Christianity. All right? In all of our holidays that we celebrate in modern times came from paganism. It came from the heathens. And when you go back in this history, you will learn that Christianity stole all of this and made it into this to help the conversion. So prepare yourself when the argument comes up about putting Christ back in Christmas. Well, of course, you can have your Christ in Christmas, but we are celebrating Yule, and Yule is a pagan holiday. Okay? So if you have any questions, comment below. Please like and share this video all over, because everybody needs to know where Yule comes from. And subscribe. I love you guys. Mwah. Have a great night.